In the year 2018, there lived two children named Hansel and Gretel who were engulfed by technology and barely saw the outdoors. But their parents were willing to change that by taking them on a camping trip into the woods. On the way to the campsite, the family drove along the mountainside of the ocean coast. Outside the window, there were eagles flying and dolphins jumping out of the water. But the kids weren't paying attention. They just had their heads down, listening to the music players. Meanwhile, in the front seat, the parents were quietly conjuring up a plan. When they got to the campsite, it was an amazing sight to see. Blue skies, huge redwood trees, and with a warm breeze. The only problem was that Hansel and Gretel were too busy on their phones to be able to feel the experience. After setting up camp, the father decided to take the kids into the woods while the mom stayed back. The father decided to teach Hansel and Gretel some survival tips, but they barely listened. He knew he had to put the plan into effect. The father took the children into a small clearing in the woods and asked Hansel to find some twigs with the help from Gretel. When the children went off, the father quietly slipped back into the woods and headed towards camp. When the children returned, they realized their father was missing and started yelling out for him. Gretel decided to use her phone, but she got no reception. Hansel and Gretel started to panic. None of their electronics were working. It was turning into a nightmare. They began to find their way back to camp, but they ended back into the clearing. They thought all hope was lost until Hansel realized that they can use their tips their dad had taught them to get back. It was getting dark, with only the moon shining, and a chilly breeze started to come. They started to become hungry and came across a berry patch. While they were picking berries, Hansel cautioned Gretel to only eat the blueberries, not the red ones. It was one of the tips they had learned. Another tip they learned was that moss grows on the north side of a rock. Their camp was west, so they headed in that direction. It started to become real dark and cold. Hansel felt like giving up until Hansel heard a familiar sound. It was his father's classical tracks coming from right behind him. Hansel grabbed Gretel's hand and cleared through the bushes. They ended up at the campsite. The parents were waiting for them. It felt like they knew Hansel and Gretel were lost. For the next few days, both Hansel and Gretel didn't use their electronic devices and spent time with the family and nature.